In the 72 hours since news of the prisoner swap for Sergeant Bo Bergdahl broke, there has been lots of talk about the U.S. servicemen who lost their lives in the effort to rescue him. But our next guest says we should also be thinking about the number of troops who were killed trying to capture the 5 Taliban leaders our president just put back on the street. Senator Ted Cruz is a Republican out of Texas. He's with me now. Senator, there's a reason why there was bipartisan objection to releasing these 5 guys for years here.
No, that's exactly right, Megan. I mean, this entire deal is extremely troubling. The president decided to make a deal with terrorists, Taliban, that are closely affiliated and interwoven with al-Qaeda. And that deal, we released 5 senior Taliban terrorists. And as you just observed a second ago, an obvious question that leaps to mind: how many soldiers lost their lives to capture these 5 Taliban terrorists? And how many soldiers may lose their lives in the future if and when these Taliban return to making war against Americans? Or how many innocent civilians might be killed? And, you know, as this thing has unwound in the last 72 hours, and we've seen the questions that have been raised about Sergeant Bergdahl, well, there's a whole set of new questions that are raised about what the president knew and when he knew it, what they knew about Sergeant Bergdahl's conduct, about all of the very serious allegations that have been raised, what kind of vetting went on, or did they simply make this deal and send these terrorists over without doing any vetting at all? And then that's a question we need to answer.
There are some reports that there were objections inside the administration that were overruled. And, of course, the Army back in 2010 determined that Bergdahl walked away from his unit. So I want to shift gears with you while I have you, because there was a fiery exchange with you on Capitol Hill today, railing against the Democrats and a proposed constitutional amendment that they have offered that would essentially curtail free speech. Here's a soundbite of you.
This amendment is about power, and it is about politicians silencing the citizens. Mr. Chairman, when did elected Democrats abandon the Bill of Rights? Mr. Chairman, where did the liberals go?
They say this is about campaign finance and reining in big corporate dollars.
Well, Megan, those are their talking points, but they filed an amendment to the Constitution that would repeal the free speech protections of the First Amendment. What the amendment would do, if adopted, is give Congress plenary authority, absolute authority, to regulate all political speech. It's not limited to corporations. It's not limited to the nefarious billionaires they talk about. It is every single individual citizen. And 42 Democrats have signed on to repealing the First Amendment. You know, in the course of the hearing, I quoted Ted Kennedy, who, when Democrats tried this back in 1997, he rightly observed, for over 200 years, we haven't amended the Bill of Rights. Now is not the time to start. And it is, this should trouble everyone, that elected Democrats are trying to give Congress the power to muzzle citizens, to muzzle both Planned Parenthood and National Right to Life, to muzzle the NRA and the Brady Center for Handgun Control, to muzzle labor unions, to muzzle individual citizens, to ban books and movies. And that is contrary to the most fundamental protections our democracy is built on.
This, of course, all relates back to Citizens United, a Supreme Court decision that the Democrats and the president remain very unhappy with. Senator, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you, and I'm very proud that so many people are standing up and, in fact, are using the hashtag #Don'tRepeal1A to stand up and defend the First Amendment. It's critical to our democracy functioning.
All the best, sir.